Isa ang racing sa mga itinuturing na extreme sports, pero marami pa rin ang nahihilig at sumusubok dito. Ngayong gabi, kilalanin natin ang dalawang Pilipino na kinilala ang kanilang husay sa larangang ito. Ako po si Carla Lizardo at ito ang Personage.
Mga karanasan na kapupulutan, mahalagang aral sa tinak na daan, kwento ng tagumpay at mga inspirasyon, hango sa buhay at muling pagbangon, pinalakas, pinatatag ang kalooban, natutong lumipad, natutong lumaban, mga katangi-tanging Pilipino, iba't ibang istorya at pagkatao, alamin kung paano at kung sino-sino, kilalanin bawat isa sa likod ng bawat kwento.
Isa siya sa mga kababaihan na walang takot na humarap sa anumang pagsubok at pinatunayan ang tapang ng makipagsabayan sa extreme sports adventure. Siya si Gabrielle Dela Merced o mas kilala sa tawag na Gaby.
With whatever you do, whatever you get into, you have to give your 100% or else you'll just get to a certain point.
Sa edad na 16 nang matutong mag-drive si Gaby, simula noon ay nagkaroon na siya ng interest sa racing.
I grew up with boys. I have 3 older brothers, so hindi masyado uso yung mga Barbies sa bahay. Anyway, they love video games. And nung nasubukan ko yung mga video games, I fell in love with racing games in particular. And then since then, I was a kid. Yun, I was hooked na. Then, high school, talagang nangulit ako sa parents ko because I wasn't really exposed into the racing community. I didn't know any racer. I've never seen a race before, but I just knew I wanted to do it. Yun, it wasn't a matter of like, you know, it's a male-dominated sport. I was just in love with the thought of driving, even before I could drive. Yun ang nangyari. Then, things progressed from then. Sa kakulitan ko.
Higit na nakilala si Gaby nang magwagi bilang first runner-up sa Asian Formula 3 noong 2006. Siya ang natatanging Filipina na nakatapos ng full season ng naturang kompetisyon.
My goal was to win and to do well. Stressful siya in a sense na, you know, at that time, that was the strongest machine that I've ever driven, you know. And toughest in a way na, you know, na nakapag-open wheel na ako dati. Pero in terms of like the physical demand, in terms of yung G-force, yung lakas ng G-force nun, sobrang lala. Then, going to tracks na never mo ma-experience. Pero that's really part of racing eh. You go there a week before or that week itself and you get to learn the whole track in 2 days or a day. But it was fun.
Minsan na ring nalagay sa alanganin ang buhay ni Gaby dahil sa racing. Pero hindi ito naging hadlang upang ipagpatuloy ang kanyang nasimulan ng mga laban.
The stretch of Subic, there's a dog leg doon eh. Parang flat out yon na sweeper na right. May nag-overtake sa akin from the inside. Sa sobrang panic ko, nag-fishtail yung car. I literally had to stop at the side of the road and gain my breath. Tapos, after that, I raced again. But since then, for that whole season, naalala ko, a week before the race, I'd start having nightmares of dying. Every week before the race, tuloy-tuloy yan. And I don't know, I guess there's just... I found a way to overcome it. You know, I had that fear for a long time, pero, you know, thank God it's not there anymore.
pagbabalik ng Personage.
So now I'm really focusing, well, there's a lot to do with endurance, upper body, especially yung arms, back, core, shoulders, then yung neck ko.
Sa pamamagitan daw ng racing ay mas nararamdaman ni Gaby ang kalayaan na nais niya sa kanyang buhay.
Driving style, I'm more of the smooth side. I'm not aggressive on the wheel. Aggressive in a sense that, you know, I try to be as fast as I could. But in terms of like, I like keeping the car as stable as possible. And I think which is my particular strength on it.
Sa ngayon ay tuloy-tuloy rin ang trainings na ginagawa ni Gaby bilang paghahanda sa mga nalalapit na international competitions.
Sobrang fortunate. I really have to thank yung team na kasama ko ngayon. Actually, nakakatuwa yung name. Team Champions. Yun. Very direct sila. But it's a Korean team and they've been really supportive. So, I plan on racing there in the next few years, and yung if everything goes well, mid-year we're gonna start to race around Asia, so Japan and stuff like that. So now I'm really focusing, well, there's a lot to do with endurance, upper body, especially yung arms, back, core, shoulders, then yung neck ko.
Hangad din ni Gaby na maging inspirasyon sa iba pang kababaihan na huwag matakot na harapin ang nais sa buhay kahit gaano pa ito kahirap.
I was scared with racing. When I got into it, as I told you, it's fear of the unknown. We all have a fear of the unknown. Whether it be sports, in a business, getting a new job, or whatever profession you want. Nakakatakot. You could give like more than 1 million reasons why hindi pwede. Alam mo yun, ang raming cons, ganon. Pero, it's naturally like that eh. But, take the plunge. I mean, it was hard. It wasn't roses for me. Hindi madali sa akin, especially in the beginning. But, you'll never, if you don't try, you'll never realize how good it may be. And baka yun yung calling mo. You'll never know. I don't believe in what ifs. Kasi what ifs, yun lang yung mga nire-regret mo eh. Ang rami mong nagagawa, pero if you think about it, kahit mali siya, did you ever really say, I really, 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 really shouldn't do that? You learn from it.
Sa pagbabalik ng Personage.
Through the years, I learned that, this is good. He's teaching me how to be responsible. He's teaching me how to be disciplined in the sport. Because you really have to be it.
Nakilala sa kart racing hanggang sa pinasok ang mundo ng telebisyon at pelikula. Ngayon ay patuloy ang kinang ng kanyang pangalan sa showbiz industry. Huminto man sa unang career bilang racer, hindi naman malilimutan ang kanyang mga naging kontribusyon sa larangang ito. Siya si Matteo Guidicelli.
As long as you love what you're doing and it's doing good for you, just go for it.
Ang ama ni Matteo ay isang Italian at isang Filipina ang kanyang ina. Nagsimula ang kanyang racing career noong siya ay 11 taong gulang pa lamang. What made you decide to start racing?
My life basically was kumbaga very active. I used to race horses, I used to do motocross. And then when I was 10 years old, I used to live in Cebu then. The Manila guys came to Cebu and did this little race parang demo race in Cebu. At may mga maliliit na bata, di ba? So nakita ko talaga, sabi ko kay Papa, I really want to do this. This is something I really want to do. But the thing is, there's no tracks in Cebu. There's no racing in Cebu. So I always thought it was something that never could be possible, di ba? So nung 11 ako, anong mga 10, pumunta ako sa Italy for vacation. Kasama yung mga family, everybody. At one of my uncles in Italy took me to a racetrack. Parang go-kart, parang fun track, diba? And I enjoyed it so much. I loved it. It was an amazing experience. And I said, when I would go back to Manila, I hope I could get something like this, or Cebu. But there was no track in Cebu. So when we went back to Cebu, another group of uncles from my mom's side naman called my dad and called me saying, Matteo, we're building a racetrack here in Cebu. We want Matteo to try it. Parang coincidence. Everything happened like parang step by step. So the week after we went to the racetrack, we tried it out. I had a great time. And a week after that, my grandpa bought me a go-kart. And a week after that, I started training and then yun, that's how it started.
Noon pa man ay suportado na ng kanyang pamilya si Matteo. Sa katunayan, ang kanyang ama na si Gianluca Guidicelli daw ang kanyang naging inspirasyon sa mga laban.
What role did your parents play when you got into racing? Like, were they always there?
My parents are the most supportive parents you can ever find, you know. The first week when I got my go-kart, I flipped and I got so many mga paltos, you know, and all that stuff. My mom was so terrified. She told me, Matteo, stop that na, it's not for you. But my dad was like, Matteo, if you really want to do it, you know, sit again in the kart and do it again. So the week after, I went back in the kart, I started going, practicing, and I enjoyed it. And then my parents couldn't do anything. They saw me enjoying what I was doing. So they just supported me and talagang tuloy-tuloy.
How do you usually train for the races?
You know, it's just basically practice. You just have to be there. I have a group of coaches around me, a group of Cebuano guys then that was guiding me, and every day I was the kid that was first on the racetrack and last to leave the racetrack. After school, I'd be in the racetrack. I was addicted to racing. I was there every day. That was my life, kumbaga.
So who would you say are your idols when it comes to racing?
Back then, my racing idols were Michael Schumacher. He's in a coma now. It's really depressing. Ayrton Senna, all these big racers before. I mean, I look up to them all the time. But you know, my biggest kumbaga, idol and parang the person I really looked up to was my dad. You know, because he taught me the discipline. All the other kids would like sleep late and then go to the racetrack early, and everybody was tired and all that stuff. My dad would make me sleep so early. Would make me sleep mga 8 p.m. and make me wake up mga 4 a.m. I hated it. Sabi ko, pa, why am I doing this? I want to quit, I want to stop. But no, basically, through the years, I learned that, you know, this is good. He's teaching me how to be responsible. He's teaching me how to be disciplined in the sport. Because you really have to be it.
Hindi na rin mabilang ang mga nakuhang awards ni Matteo. Kasama na rito ang tropeyo bilang 3-time winner ng Carter of the Year Award.
This is my trophy room. And this is my brother, Paolo. Say hi, bro. Hi. Come here. Ah. Here. Come here. This is my trophies. These are my racing trophies here, all these racing stuff.
Do you have a favorite one?
All of them, I guess. And this one, I'm very proud of this. I'll tell you the background. Okay. In high school, we were in our graduation, diba? And then they were calling honor rolls. Yeah. And then everybody was saying, Matteo, they're gonna call you. Because they're messing with me. I'm not very smart in school, okay? And then later, they really called my name. They were like, Matteo Guidicelli, honor. So yun, I got that, see that? Wow. Honor roll certificate.
Sa pagbabalik ng Personage.
I believe life you only live once. It's so short, you know, anything can happen to you. So you gotta do whatever you wanna do.
Dahil sa isang aksidente sa huling laban ni Matteo, ay nagdesisyon ang kanyang ina na huminto na siya sa racing. At hanggang ngayon ay wala pang balak si Matteo na bumalik sa kart racing competition.
So this discipline, like, it really reached out to every other thing that you do.
Yeah.
It was like the biggest thing that you learned when it comes to racing.
Yeah. You know, racing taught me so much discipline. My dad came from the Italian army, so talagang this guy is sobrang disciplined, diba? So yun, tinuturuan niya akong paano maging discipline, you know. Natutulog ng maaga, gumising ng maaga. In the racetrack, talagang no time for jokes, diba? It's talagang, you're there to win. You have to do everything it takes to win.
So what racing event would you say was the most memorable for you?
Wow. I have a lot of racing events that was very, very memorable. since I was 11, I moved to Manila when I was 14 because of racing. My whole family, kumbaga, lumipat kami sa Manila dahil sa racing lang. I went to Italy for a few months. I lived there alone. I worked as like a janitor there when I was 16 in a racetrack in a garage, just for experience, you know. Racing there was very memorable. Kumbaga, dito sa Pilipinas, I was top. I was always in the top. When I went to Italy, I was always in the bottom. I was never in the top. The guys there was crazy. A lot of memorable experiences. The freshest one that comes to my head was my last race here in Carmona in Cavite. You know Marlon Stockinger? Yeah. You know, it was me and him. It was for the championship. He overtook me, and then I told myself, Matteo, if you don't overtake him in the next corner, he's gonna win. So I gave it all. I just overtook him. I went inside, and we bumped each other, and my cart flew up in the air, and I flipped. I hit my head on the floor and everything, and that was it for me. And I was in the bed for a week. I went to the hospital, all that stuff, and Marlon won. And yun, that was my last race. I got into an accident, and I felt drunk for 2 weeks. Like I hit my head really hard.
So, like, with all the things that you learned when you were racing, how do you apply it to the things that you're doing now? You're in showbiz, you're really busy. How did it impact your life?
Racing taught, like, parang it jump-started everything. It taught me how to be disciplined. It taught me how to work hard. It taught me if you were passionate about something, you'd give everything you've got, you know? I can say racing parang took away all the bad vices in my life. I mean, I'm not perfect. I've gone out, I've partied, I would drink and stuff, but racing would always keep me straight, you know. Once it's time to work, I'm like there to work, you know what I'm saying?
Maliban sa mga proyekto sa telebisyon, naging abala rin si Matteo sa pagsali sa triathlon.
So since you were a kid, you were really an adventurer, and now you're into triathlon.
Yes.
So how did you get into this?
Triathlon is basic like racing, except racing, meron kang kotse, meron kang gulong, meron kang makina, diba? Sa triathlon naman, yung makina mo, ikaw, diba? Yung sarili mo. So, kumbaga, you have to train yourself. It's a whole different thing. It's like training your body, your mind, you know, your soul. Talagang you have to condition yourself to perform. So it's a nice thing because you learn so much more about your body, about your health, about nutrition, because you're working with your body. So it's nice. It's a different kind of thrill. It's a different kind of thrill. But the speed is still there. In the road bike, you go up to 60 kilometers per hour with the road bike. You know, it's still dangerous. You're still risking everything, and I believe life is all a risk. You know, you won't live life to the fullest if you don't risk it.
Marami ring projects and events ang dapat pag-abangan kay Matteo.
I find it really amazing because you're in your early 20s, and it's like you've done so much. I mean, you know, you're really going through it. So, like, what's next for you? What other things would you like to achieve?
A lot. You know, life is short. I gotta do everything I can. You know, we gotta do everything we can. You know, it irritates me when people think, when people live in a box, when people doesn't want to adventure life, doesn't want to take risks, and doesn't want to open their arms and accept everything. You know, I believe life, you only live once. It's so short. You know, anything can happen to you. So you gotta do whatever you want to do, diba? What I want to do? I want to do more triathlon races. I want to skydive. I want to do crazy things. I want to do adventurous stuff. I just want to explore and just enjoy.
So now, like, how do you balance everything? I mean, you're in showbiz and you're also doing, you know, so many things. Usually, kasi, diba, if you're in showbiz, it usually takes up, like, most of your time.
Yeah.
How do you balance it all?
It's basically with, example, if you have example for me, if I have a teleserye, everything will revolve with my teleserye. A teleserye doesn't last a lifetime, just lasts maybe 6 months max or a year. So when you have a soap, you dedicate your whole time and your whole life to the soap muna, diba? When the soap's over, use the time wisely to do other things, diba? Like now, I don't have a soap, so I can train more for triathlon. I can enjoy my other stuff. I can do this, I can do that, diba? So it's basically time management and knowing what you want to do.
And finally, I guess there are also lots of little kids who want to get into racing, who look up to you.
Yeah.
What tips could you give them naman if they want to go into racing?
Basically, if you love something, if you have passion for something, go for it. Don't let anybody stop you, you know? As long as you know it's something positive, and as long as you love what you're doing and it's doing good for you, just go for it, you know? So, yun, if you have passion for sport or something, do it.
Hindi hadlang ang kasarian o estado sa buhay upang makamit ang minimithing pangarap. Yan ang pinatunayan sa atin ni Gaby Dela Merced. At para naman kay Matteo, huminto man siya sa kart racing, mananatili sa kanyang alaala ang mga aral na natutunan sa larangang ito. Hanggang sa muli, itong programang naghahatid ng mga kwento ng tagumpay, inspirasyon at pagbangon. Ako po si Carla Lizardo at ito ang Personage.
Kasi kami talaga lahat, laging pangarap namin makagawa ng mga kanta. So, kahit wala nang offer na mag-album, parang tuloy-tuloy yung dream na yun.
Ngayon, may edad na ako. Naniniwala ako sa discipline para ka tumagal.
Hanapin mo yung sarili mo, hanapin mo yung kung ano yung bagay sa'yo at huwag kang manggaya.